Hi, welcome to Gigat's Country Kitchen. We're going to make some good stuff today. We're going to do some homemade biscuits. You know, you just can't beat a good hot biscuit. And well, I've got you a good recipe today. This one is dairy free, but what we did is in a short that I have out, you can see how to make this buttermilk. So it's really cool. So go watch that. But you can see how it has formed that nice buttermilk now. I also have a short on making your own baking powder. But if you're going to use the store-bought baking powder, then that would be 2 tablespoons that you would add into this recipe. So we're going to get started. I've got some King Arthur bread flour here. We're going to be using a 1/4 cup of coconut oil, a 1/4 cup of this stick butter. We have 2 cups here of milk with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. We'll be using 1 teaspoon of sea salt and 2 tablespoons of baking powder. And to that you may, if we need any added liquids, we're going to use water. But let me tell you, if you don't have buttermilk or you don't have milk you want to use for your biscuits, just use water. They're great. They taste wonderful. So don't let that stop you. If you don't have it, just get you some really good cold water and put in there. About 2 cups. Have you another 1/2 cup on hand just in case, because you never know when you're working with flour and getting the exact measurements. But what I have here is a pound of flour, which is about 3 1/2 cups, or between 3 1/4 to 3 1/2 cups. It'll just weigh it out or just dip it out, and that's why you might need a little more liquids. But I'm just going to get a little bit of that, go ahead and sift that in. Put our baking powder. Okay, I'm going to put a teaspoon of sea salt. All right. And we're going to sift this through, make sure we get all the lumps out of it, because baking soda will lump up sometimes and, give you a bad taste in the mouth. So go ahead and sift it through. You can use the little hand sifters, but I like these. Makes it super easy and convenient and fast. And what I do in my little baking area of my kitchen, I keep my little bucket here, and I keep my sifter and my measurements for my my measuring spoons for my baking powder that I use, and I just keep it always handy. So now I'm going to put this over, and I like to sift everything twice. So that's just me. You don't really have to do that, but it just helps to make a light, fluffy biscuits. Now I'm going to give you some tricks on making biscuits and how to, get that nice fluffy biscuit, not a tough one that rises great. And we're gonna teach you a few little tricks to it. Okay? Now my mama, oh boy, she can make the absolute best biscuits I've ever had. She did all hers in one bowl, and she never measured a thing. And they were just so wonderful. I've always tried to get up to hers. I haven't quite got there, but a lot of folks say that I have some really good biscuits. You have to take that up with my husband and see what he says. He's my cameraman. Oh, but we're going to get this sifted. All right. Make sure we get it all in there. Okay. So to that, once your flour is all nice and together, we're going to go ahead and get our oils and our butter put into this mixture as well. Let me get it where you can see everything. All right, I have a 1/4 cup of coconut oil. And while you're measuring that out, I grease my pan with coconut oil as well. Okay. And you will bake these biscuits on 400 degrees. Put your pan on, if you're doing it in a regular oven range, you'll put that pan right there towards the bottom shelf for 13 minutes, and then cut your eye on broil and cook another 3 minutes. Some ovens vary. You may need to do 16 minutes instead of 13, but that'll give you a roundabout idea. And you just want to cook them until they are set and done and not overcook. A lot of people will not brown their biscuits with the broiler. And what happens is you overcook them, they dry out, and the longer they are in that oven baking, after they have already been formed as much as they're going to and risen as much as they're going to, you start drying them out and pulling the moisture out of them. And when that happens, you get tougher biscuits. So at this point, when you're working your oils and your coconut oil and your butter in, you want to almost make like a little cornmeal, little fine pea texture to it. Just pinch it and push it together like this and work that flour into it. Okay? So you get all that worked in. Reach down deep to the bottom of the bowl. Don't be afraid to get your hand in it. You can wear a glove. If I was doing this in the restaurant, I would have my gloves on. But this is my own personal. So we're gonna have do it with my hand. All right. So, but you can feel it. Just take and just rub it together and just move it where that butter and all is being broken up into small pieces. Now, there's a reason why I have two different kinds of oil here, butter and sticks. The sticks are harder and firmer. They melt down at a different degree. The coconut oil will melt at a lower temperature. So what happens here is when your biscuits start rising and it is exposed to liquids, this baking powder, then the coconut oil first starts releasing and the oil starts melting, and it helps that rise and disperse in there, and then you have the butter that starts melting afterwards, and it makes like two different kinds of pockets that helps your biscuits to be lighter and fluffier. Okay, so flour, when it is exposed to liquids, you get gluten. When you get too much gluten working and building into your recipe here, your biscuits will become tough and more firm. Think of it like a really tight rubber band, how it pulls together. And that's what gluten does. So we do not want that. So most of the working that you're going to do in this flour is right here while you're breaking this in. Now, you see how this is here and how it's sort of like a really fine cornmeal kind of thing? And watch, when you squeeze it, how it holds together. That means you've got that broken down good enough. Okay? So make you a little hole in here. All right? We're going to take, and this is the buttermilk that we made. And you see how it's separated right there? You see how it looks? Okay? This is the buttermilk we made. We're just going to pour that right down in the hole. And here's the key. Do not overwork this. Take and come around from the sides and just push in. You can do this with your hand, but I'm going to do this showing you with a spatula. And do gentle stirring. Get all the way down to the bottom. And do a lifting. Don't grab and pinch. Don't work it too much. Okay, that still is a bit dry. What you want it to look like is melted vanilla ice cream that's just slightly melted. So I have a little extra water here. Just do a little bit. We don't want to overdo it. And you just want to come around the edges and fold. So you're not pinching. Okay? Just folding them. All right, we're going to do just a little bit more. See that look right here where my finger is? That's the kind of look we want. We're almost there. And you can smell that buttermilk smell in it now from us mixing that vinegar and all together. Okay, so that's about right. We're going to put a little more and just let that sit. And it varies. Different measuring cups, I've noticed, that's why I always keep a little water on hand. So the least amount that you handle this dough now, the better your biscuits are going to rise, the nice fluffier that they'll be. So what I do, instead of taking flour and dumping this dough out and rolling it out and then cutting them and having to do all that, I use a little ice cream scoop. This one is a 1/4 cup. It makes a nice sized biscuit, but if you want a big old jumbo biscuit, then get one of the 1/2 cup ones. But this one does really, really good. So let me move this out of the way, and we're going to get started in rolling out our biscuits, and I'll show you some very simple, easy techniques for that. Okay. All right, I have a pan here that I've already greased with the coconut oil. Also in my baking area, I always keep a little bowl of flour on hand, and it's so that I can have it for making biscuits basically. Or if I'm doing gravy, I have it ready. So I just take and get a nice scoop, put that in there, toss some flour around on it. And remember, we're not trying to add a whole lot of flour or extra to it and handling it. So you just take and you sort of pinch and turn. Okay? Now, if you're a person, some people, I have done classes where I've been teaching how to make biscuits and they cannot get this part. If that don't work for you and you don't mind what they call a cat head biscuit, you just scoop that out and put it on there. It's fine. It's great. You don't have to do it. But if you want some biscuits that are like, your traditional looking biscuits, this is what you do. And you want them about 3/4 thick. Okay? And you just put those on your pan here. And we're going to set and we're going to get all these scooped out and get these in the oven. Okay? So let me get these all made up and we'll be right back. Okay, I got them all done up. I like to do mine in a little honeycomb pattern. It just makes them pretty. And as you see, I've got some little ones around the side. I always take my extra dough and I just make little baby biscuits. My grandmother always did that. And we churned our own butter and had butter. And now she would take her thumb and be like that and put a big old pat of butter right in it at this point. Now I've got some butter here melted that we're going to brush on top, and I'll explain that in a minute. But I have my oven preheated, and I'm going to cook mine in this Ninja oven, so I've got to watch it. But in your traditional range, it is 13 minutes, and you would just put it, on that lower shelf at 400 degrees. And so right now, let me see. We're going to do bake, and we're going to put it on 13 minutes. And I've already got it preheated, so it's just wanting to jump ahead and say, let's get cooking. All right. So I'm going to let that 13 minutes go. And when I get those out, I'm going to come back and show you. We'll butter them babies up, and we'll have some good old homemade biscuits. Okay, we got the biscuits out of the oven. Like I said, I cooked these in the air fryer, so yeah, they didn't brown as evenly on every one of them as I like, but they're still fine. It'll be beautiful once we get our butter on it. So I got some melted butter here, and we're just going to brush the tops of each of these. And here's you another biscuit secret. If you want your biscuits to stay just really good and moist and great for storage, you need to coat these biscuits pretty good with butter. It just locks in that moisture in these biscuits, and it helps them to stay fresher longer. So just brush them real good with butter and get them all nice and golden and beautiful. Yeah, the air fryer that I have here, it has the little oven areas, that you can bake, you can broil, what have you. But when you use the little double oven like I have here, see, it has that little small area that you can bake in. Well, when you do that, the broil eyes are right close to it. So you have to be careful with something like this. Keep a close eye if you was to use one like that, so that you don't, burn. But you can see where each of the little eyes is on top because that's where it was closest. If you had this in your regular oven, leave them down on that bottom shelf, cut the broil on, time it for 3 minutes. And usually that gives you a perfect golden brown all the way across your biscuits. I'm just going to make sure all the sides, everything is good. And then we're going to check these biscuits out. Okay? My husband done put in his order. He says we got to have some good old gravy biscuits tonight.
Sausage gravy biscuits.
Sausage gravy biscuits. Just can't beat that. All right. So here we have. Now look at the texture of that. See how nice and beautiful that is? How soft. It's so hot I can't hardly touch it. Look at that. All that steamy hot. Get a nice piece of sausage and throw that right in there. And boy, you have a nice biscuits. I hope you enjoy these biscuits. In this recipe, it is one that my family has loved and enjoyed, and I am so grateful that I get to share that with you. And I just pray many blessings on you and your family and all those who subscribe and watch and share our videos. We appreciate that so much. Come, just get your friends to jump in and grow with us, and let's learn how to cook and make things as good as we can. And please share with me your ideas and things that you have found that works really good. So this is my homemade biscuits I share with you. Thank you so much. Have a blessed day.